A federal judge just dropped a bombshell ruling that could end Pam Bondi's career as Attorney General, and Washington is in full panic mode right now. We're talking about a sitting judge calling the Department of Justice dishonest, untrustworthy, and abusive of power in writing, on record. And now, Congress is already talking about removal. Stay with me, because this one is big. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button because we break down the stories that actually matter. Today we're talking about Attorney General Pam Bondi, a federal judge named Amy Berman Jackson, and a ruling so devastating that even some Republicans are getting nervous. Let's get into it. Before we get to the ruling, let's set the scene. For months now, Bondi's Department of Justice has been in open conflict with Congress. Lawmakers issued subpoenas, legal demands for documents related to ongoing investigations. Standard oversight stuff, but Bondi's DOJ kept refusing to hand them over. Their argument: executive privilege, deliberative process protections, basically saying these are sensitive government documents and you can't have them. And on top of that, this is all happening while Bondi is already under fire over the Epstein files. Lawmakers on both sides of the aisle have been asking serious questions about how those documents were released and what is still being hidden. So Bondi was already in hot water, and then Judge Jackson stepped in. Here's what Judge Amy Berman Jackson did. She reviewed the disputed documents in camera, meaning privately, just her, behind closed doors. No lawyers, no spin, just her reading through the actual files that Bondi claimed were too sensitive to release. And when she came out, she tore Bondi's arguments apart. The judge found that Bondi's privilege claims were, in her words, largely bogus. These weren't sensitive national security documents. They weren't top-secret deliberations. They were routine communications that should have been turned over to Congress months ago. But the judge didn't stop there. She went back through multiple cases and documented a pattern. Multiple instances where Bondi's DOJ made representations to courts that turned out to be inaccurate or misleading. Cases where the department dragged its feet. Cases where it ignored judicial orders altogether. And then she wrote the line that is shaking Washington right now. Cesar Bondi, SDOJ, has engaged in a pattern of conduct that destroys the presumption of government honesty. Let me explain why that line matters so much. Courts by tradition, by law, give the Department of Justice the benefit of the doubt. They assume government lawyers are honest. That's how the system works. That presumption of honesty is fundamental. Judge Jackson is saying, that's gone. Bondi's DOJ has lied so many times that federal courts can no longer trust them. That is not a slap on the wrist. That is a formal judicial finding of misconduct. Now here is where it gets even messier, because this ruling comes on top of the Epstein file controversy that is already consuming capital. Hill Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick was literally testifying before a Senate hearing this week after his name showed up in the Epstein documents. He admitted to having lunch with Epstein after Epstein's 2008 conviction on prostitution charges tried to downplay it. But the damage was already done. And while all of that was happening, Democrats on the House Judiciary Committee confronted Bondi directly. Their argument: she has been Attorney General for over a year. Her DOJ fired the lead prosecutor on the Epstein case. They sat on evidence. They claimed last July there were no more leads, which turned out to be false. And when Congress finally forced her to release the files, she included personal information about the victims while protecting the names of the alleged abusers. That is a serious list of accusations. And Bondi's responses in those hearings: combative, defensive, and according to her critics, not very convincing. So what happens now? First, Democrats are already using Judge Jackson's ruling to push for impeachment. Before this ruling, impeachment talk was mostly political. Now they have a judicial finding. A federal judge, Monterrey, saying the AG misled courts and abused her power. That's a completely different argument. Second, even some Republicans are nervous. Nobody wants to be on the record defending an attorney general who has been publicly called dishonest by a federal judge. Third, and this is the part people aren't talking about enough, this ruling is public. It's permanent. Every future judge who handles a case involving Bondi's DOJ is going to see it. They're going to know what Judge Jackson found. They'll scrutinize every argument Bondi's team makes. They'll demand more proof. They'll be less likely to take her word for anything. Bondi doesn't just have a credibility problem in this case. She has a credibility problem in every court in the country going forward. Bondi's response: she's calling Judge Jackson biased. She's saying it's a politically motivated ruling. She's painting it as just another activist judge going after the Trump administration. But here's the problem with that defense. Judge Jackson didn't rely on political opinions. She reviewed the actual documents. She read them herself. Her findings are based on evidence, not ideology. When the ruling is grounded in a private review of real files, the activist judge argument falls pretty flat. Let's talk about the 5 real consequences here, because they go beyond just this one ruling. 1. Her credibility is shattered. Prosecutors need courts to trust them. Juries need to believe them. If Bondi has lost that trust, she literally cannot do her job effectively. 2. The case for impeachment just got a lot stronger. Before, it was politics. Now, it's a judicial record. 3. She faces potential personal legal jeopardy. Making false representations to federal courts isn't just embarrassing, it can lead to sanctions, contempt findings, and in serious cases, criminal charges. Judge Jackson didn't go there, but she laid the groundwork for others too. 4. This damages the whole Trump administration. Bondi is Trump's top law enforcement officer. When a federal judge says she can't be trusted, that stain reaches all the way to the White House. 5. Congress now has even more ammunition. Judge Jackson just ruled that Bondi's privilege claims are often bogus. It empowers lawmakers to demand more documents and to hold her in contempt when she refuses. Here's the bottom line. Pam Bondi is fighting on 3 fronts simultaneously: the Epstein file controversy, contempt threats from Congress, and now a formal judicial finding that her department is That is an almost impossible position to hold, and every day she stays in office, another ruling comes out, another hearing happens, another piece of evidence hits the record. At some point, even if Trump wants to keep her because she's loyal, loyalty only goes so far when you're dragging down the entire administration. If she becomes a symbol of corruption and cover-ups heading into the 2026 midterms, she becomes a liability. And when that happens, she's on her own. Judge Jackson's ruling might not end Bondi's tenure tomorrow, but it could very well be the moment historians point to as the beginning of the end. That's the full breakdown, gut. If you found this useful, drop it like it genuinely helps the channel reach more people. And let me know in the comments. Do you think Bondi survives this Orisidone? I want to hear what you think. Subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you in the next one.